All right, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for this evening for northwest Arkansas. I'm 5 News Chief Meteorologist Matt Standridge. We've got this line coming in. It's kind of now centralized itself into one pocket and a pretty decent gusty pocket headed right towards the state line right now. Here's a closer look. Also, new tornado warning for Conway. If you got folks in Conway, reach out to them, make sure they're safe. But we're seeing this whole red area. This is the new highlighted tornado watch coming in from the National Weather Service. It does include the Southern River Valley because these storms have the potential to rotate. The strongest rotations will be farther south, but we're right on the edge of some of these gnarly storms for another 2.5 hours. And then our storm threat's over, so it's really quick for us. Unfortunately, it's in the middle of the night. But right now, we're watching this storm coming in northwest Arkansas. Really gusty winds headed right now into Delaware and Adair counties. And the warning includes northwestern Washington, not quite into Fayetteville unless you're right there at the Stephen Carr exit. That side of Fayetteville, extreme northwest side by Adventure Subaru, is included by this severe thunderstorm warning. Lake Weddington, we're right on the edge too, but then we cross into Benton County, Siloam Springs, Gravette, XNA, Heifel, Decatur, we're all included with this storm. It's right here that we're seeing the gusty winds. Now, just kind of a quick check. It's starting to tilt a little bit more towards the north. This thing has a little bit of a low pressure, meso-low right now, and that's helping to drive this and kind of hook it a little bit farther to the north. So Fayetteville will probably get some rain, but the wind threat looks to be kind of meandering a little bit farther to the north. So that wind threat would carry it more towards Bentonville. Here's a little bit closer of a view. You're watching this sharp edge. It's a little bit more jagged right now. There is a slight sign of some weakening, and temperatures are slowly dropping this evening. So in January, it's hard to get storms to sustain themselves in the overnight. It's possible, but it's hard. We're trying to right now with this storm. It's trying, but we're going to be watching it kind of swing a little bit up to the north. So Bentonville, Rogers, watch out for this storm. Here's a quick look at the timing. We're going to get some rain eventually in Fayetteville, but the severe threat's more for Benton County. At least it's trending in that direction. Bentonville, 11:13. Siloam Springs, though, before 11 o'clock. Right now, what time is it? Just about 10:40. Here in about 10 minutes, it'll be here in Siloam Springs. We've got the rain just about a couple moments west of the Cherokee Casino. But Bentonville, 11:13. Rogers, 11:23. Fayetteville, 11:25. And Goshen, they're a little bit farther east, 11:37. Here's a look at some of those wind speeds right now. You're noticing the difference between the red and the green. Not necessarily a rotation, but you're just seeing gusty winds going from one direction and crossing that radar beam perpendicularly. So you're seeing this green. That means the wind is going right off towards the north and east right now. And so we'll watch this. There's the gusty wind threat right in there. There's also a decent amount of lightning and some hail with this storm too. This is looking at the hail tracker. For a second there, just north of and west of Tahlequah, it looked like the cell was ballooning, and when that took place, the warning was issued, but you can see the hail pocket has diminished a little bit. Now, there will still be in this whole rain band that we're watching, there will still be some little hail pockets in here, but not a sustained hail core as of now, but there will be some of these little ice chunks flying around. So if you live anywhere in Benton County, you don't have to live right in the path of the strongest part of the cell. You can live anywhere with some of this red color with the heavy rain coming in, and you may just hear some extra little dinks as we're watching this cell. I'm going to pause for just a moment. We've got to get our other live streams up. I think I started a couple. So bear with me just one moment. I'm going to zoom out for a second so that you can see more from a wide view of what we're talking about. So I'm going to get this push alert that helps activate everything else. So we'll be there in just a moment. Pretty crazy, this storm. We're getting a little bit of everything the next several hours because of a very strong cold front. And then another strong cold front comes at us for the weekend. That one has just a snow chance. This one is trying to knock down the 60s that we had today and take us back to 20s by tomorrow morning. It'd be a huge drop here in the next couple of hours. And because of that significant drop and because we were fairly warm with some of those 60s, this is why we're getting some of the severe weather now. All right, I think everything is good to go. So once again, to recap, tornado watch anywhere in this red highlighted area from Dallas to Fort Smith and right towards Little Rock and Conway. Most of the rotation will be a little bit closer to Texarkana, so right in this area. But the Southern River Valley, we are right on the edge. There is a tornado warning headed in towards Conway, so there is that storm that's pretty intense. This whole line is marching east to Little Rock. We're keeping our eye off towards the west. Two different pockets to watch. One you see, one you don't really see. The first one you see, of course, is this thing. New severe thunderstorm warning coming right towards northwest Arkansas. There's some gusty winds up to about 60 miles per hour, about 5 minutes away from Siloam Springs. So it is charging along Highway 412 towards the state line right now. It'll be there at the Cherokee Casino in just a matter of moments. Then farther south, you don't see much. But in this area, there is the chance that we could continue to get more development. Why? Look at the clouds. They're kind of a telltale sign. We're getting some drier air to come in, and so that helps saturate the air, and so you're getting clouds to form. So technically right here, there's what's called a dry line. You probably remember we've talked about dry lines before, helping to activate severe weather. Sometimes they can, and sometimes they don't really do much, but we do have a dry line right here. And so because of that, we could get additional storms that fire up in northeast Texas and southeastern Oklahoma. Why are we talking about their weather? Well, everything's moving northeast. So if we can get storms in this area, some of them could try to clip parts of the Southern River Valley anywhere until about 1:30 or 2. I think by 2, most of us are good from a severe weather standpoint. We'll have some rain for a while and maybe some rumbles of thunder, but the severe threat should pretty much be over by then. So we've got a couple more hours to watch. But this tornado watch as a whole goes until 4 o'clock. But I think our kind of corner of the watch will be until 1, at the latest 2. So we'll see if anything else develops. If nothing else develops, we're good. But we do have this nasty storm coming in northwest Arkansas. And then, of course, we got all these nasty storms that are marching east. We got clipped in parts by Scott County and Polk County and Montgomery County, even Yell County. We got pretty hit hard with some of the heavy rain and lightning and a little bit of hail. But the most immediate threat for our region here in 5 Country is this storm that's coming in from northeast Oklahoma. So we switch it over to the high resolution radar data, and you're watching the rain now cross into Benton County. Starting to see some cells fire up ahead of the line. That kind of helps mess with the parent storm when that takes place. It likes to just run free and clear. So the storm necessarily doesn't like this. We like it because that's usually a sign of maybe some weakening, at least a little bit. But here, right where you have the tight edge between nothing to a whole lot of something, is where you've got that heavy and gusty wind threat that's marching eastbound. It is now crossing into Siloam Springs. It has now reached the Cherokee Casino for the wind threat. You're looking in Western County and thinking, Matt, it's pouring where I live. What are you talking about, Siloam Springs? It's already pouring here. These are those other cells that are marched in. These are not necessarily really severe. It's this part right here that's severe coming in with those gusty winds. I'll show you what the wind and the timing looks like. You can see that timing. I went ahead and drew this a little bit later, but the timing still stands farther east. We've got Lincoln a little bit farther south. We'll probably get some of that rain here in the next, what time is it? 10:47. Here in about, where's Lincoln? There we go. About 15, 20 minutes from now. Bentonville, 11:13. Rogers, 11:20 or so. Fayetteville, closer to 11:30. So many of us up and down the I-49 corridor have about 30 minutes before it really reaches us. You could get some rain starting to come in, but the wind threat will come towards I-49 here in the next 25 to 30 minutes. But here's another thing. Let's talk about the wind. It's this pocket right here where you have that sharp edge between red and green. Decent winds coming in right now that are just about to hit the state line. Otherwise, all this stuff is kind of rain. But this is where your wind is, and the wind is slowly kind of doing a little bit of a hook, just a little bit. So what that means is that the wind threat may not hit Fayetteville as hard. So if you keep the wind where my hand is and it kind of does something like this, it may hit more Bentonville and maybe northwest Rogers there, closer to the Amp or so, and then head into the Bentonville area, so downtown, Walmart headquarters, Centerton, also coming right through X&A, Heifel, Gentry, Gravette. We're kind of on this path coming in southwest side, the Bentonville Recreation Center. Then you're right there towards Thaden Field and then into downtown, Crystal Bridges. So we're watching that kind of wind threat. We'll see in Rogers, we're kind of very close. We'll watch in Rogers. We've got some wind speeds possibly coming in within the next 30 minutes too. But Fayetteville, we may be just outside. We'll have to see as this thing kind of hooks. Let's also talk about hail. We've had some hail on and off with this storm. It kind of peaked there just north and west of Tahlequah. And then notice how it's kind of struggled. But there are some little hail chunks coming out. So far, it doesn't look like they're that severe. But here's the thing. When temperatures are so cold like this upstairs, I mean, guys, we're in January. It's cold upstairs. It's very easy for the atmosphere to try to produce some hailstones. Very easy to take water droplets and freeze them. So you may not even be in the strongest part of the storm, and you're mixing some of the rain with little ice chunks here and there. And most times it's probably about pea size to nickel size. but there's a threat that we could get some quarter-sized hail, and right with the heart of the storm coming into southwestern Benton County. I'm going to back up things just a little bit. This shows you the wide view. Once again, the tornado watch is in fact for the Southern River Valley. We'll see if we can fire anything up. Right now it's kind of struggling. We've had most of the storms already fire to the north and east, but there could be additional development where that dry line is. We'll see how that works out. But then we got the cold air here on the backside. Here's a live look outside, and Bentonville looks very cold out there, but technically it's not that bad. We've got temperatures in the 50s right now. And that's the other thing. Usually there's a kind of a threshold that we study in meteorology of 60 degrees. If you're close-ish to 60 degrees, so maybe even 58 could probably count. We're in the mid-50s, so we're close. Usually that's kind of the threshold that you need to support severe weather. It's tough to get it colder than that. And right now we are kind of colder than that, just by a touch, but it is warm and it's a little bit more humid out there. This is live look in Bentonville. I want to show you what it looks like outside in Springdale. You're looking back off towards the west, towards the storm as it comes in. I may actually move this camera just a little bit. You're looking due west there from Sunset. There's the Sam's Club parking lot. I'm going to tilt it just a little bit farther to the right, so a little bit more due east rather than east-southeast. I guess it's kind of west-northwest. We're not looking east, we're looking west. This is looking west towards Oklahoma, looking over the Sam's Club, and there in the distance you do see some of the lightning. If I zoom in, you may see it a little bit more. Look way off, right above the skyline with the lights and the horizon. You'll see a couple flashes there, right off in the distance. There you go. Some of them are hard to see from this distance. They'll get clearer as they get closer to this camera. But you're looking right there you go. You're looking towards Taneytown right now. So you're looking down Highway 412. You're looking back west there towards the state line. Pretty gnarly storm, especially for January. But so far, we haven't noticed too much rotation on this storm, so that's some good news. But something to watch. This is, once again, a live look in Bentonville. You're looking more south. We'll have a better view once the storm's closer to Bentonville from this particular angle. Once again, here's a wide view with the storm now pushing into northwest Arkansas. This is interesting. Some redevelopment there on the south side. That's usually the only place you can get stronger development is usually the south side. If you've got southerly winds feeding it, you can try to get it. So that part of the cell is getting a little bit nastier. See what's going on there. I've got a radar also to this side where I can kind of look off too. Here's the high resolution data. So far, just a lot of heavy rain. I'm going to also look at lightning. You see how there's a lot more lightning in this pocket. Down south, there's not as much lightning, but we're seeing some cells try to develop and feed in. It looks like we've got a couple more strikes trying to come in, so it may be slowly trying to strengthen here just a little bit. Wind-wise, the wind is right in here. So the wind's now crossing over Siloam Springs right there into Gentry, Decatur, and Gravette. Sulphur Springs, we've got maybe another 10 minutes before it kind of swings through us, but it looks like the heart of the wind is going to come right through Watts and Siloam Springs. It's already coming through Siloam Springs, but there towards Watts and Heifel, Taneytown, Elm Springs, and Cave Springs, we're going to be next as this just plows right down Highway 412. Hail again, got a little bit of hail. You got the wind, and then the hail is a little bit behind the wind. Just a couple little ice chunks trying to fall heading towards northwest Arkansas. But a lot of heavy rain too. Good downpours. Good downpours headed right towards us. Bentonville, looks like we got a couple of these cells trying to preliminary pop off, getting a little excited. So we're getting a little bit wet now, especially on the west side. There towards Bentonville West, Centerton. We're now getting some of that rainfall. It's all part and attached to the whole system, but really the severe threat, the reason why we have a warning is right here with this wind. So we're tracking that wind, it's slowly moving eastbound. The wind, the wall of wind is moving about 50 miles per hour, and the winds themselves are honestly close to 50 or 60. So the storm's really not producing that much wind. It's just moving so fast, you know. So just kind of plowing right through northwest. I'm going to pull up a couple more things here on this side. So far, not really any rotation on this storm, which is good. If I show you guys, again, a wide view, this storm still has some rotation coming into the Little Rock area. But right now, northwest Arkansas, no tornado watch. The tornado watch is for the River Valley, but we'll see if more stuff tries to fire up. It could even be attached to here. The dry line kind of gets washed out a little bit farther north. The dry line's more here, but if it could try to connect itself with maybe this last piece of moisture of kind of thunderstorm activity, we could see more cells kind of form a line from here down. But that's just, we'll see if that pops off or not. Otherwise, the strongest thunderstorms are definitely hitting central Arkansas. There's the cold air on the backside coming eastbound pretty quickly. Here's the thing about tomorrow. We'll start off in the, let's say, low 40s right around 5 a.m. By about 7 to 8 o'clock, we'll be in the mid-20s. Huge drop is on the way as this whole system pushes through, and that could cause some flash freezing. So here's what's going on in northwest Arkansas. Plus wind and hail, there's just a lot of rainfall coming in at us. And because of that, we're going to wet the roads, of course, really quickly with this rainfall, pretty good dose. This moisture is going to last for a while. Then we could get some snow flurries tomorrow morning, which keep the roads wet, maybe a little icy too. But then as we drop from the 40s to the 20s in the matter of just a couple of hours, there could be some flash freezing. And that's one big reason why schools have been closing. We've got winter weather advisories for northwest Arkansas because of that very reason. Let's see. I'm going to pull off to the side just really quick. I'm going to show you what it looks like outside in Salem Springs. If you're just now tuning in, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for western Benton County and extreme northwest Washington County. So looking, okay, so you see the edge of the storm there. Zoom in a little bit more closely. While we're doing that, I'm going to see if I can move the Bentonville camera. I got to do it from a computer over here, so that's why I'm stepped off to the side. But you can kind of see the edge of the clouds there. It gets lit up there with some of that lightning. We don't want to see the lightning, but it sure helps us diagnose the storm at night. Just makes it easier to see. Let's see. All right, so when we move this to Bentonville, I should be able to see it. There we go. All right, so now you're looking due south. There's Staten Field. And then a little bit back more to the west. There we go. See some of that lightning there in the distance now as well. So there's a view coming in. Pretty nasty storm here for January, that's for sure. This is again a view from Springdale. You're looking right at sunset in Tawnytown. Back wide, there's the Sam's Club there on the left-hand side of your screen. There's the storm. Let's check out temperatures really quick. Let's see what they're doing. Yeah, so when you're talking about that threshold of 60, or at least close to 60, Scott County is really the only one doing it. Northwest Arkansas, we're in the mid-50s. Not bad at almost 11 o'clock at night in January. Those are some strong southerly winds, not just here on the ground, but higher up in the atmosphere too, helping to sustain some of that. But this is back to the radar. Watching this storm just blow right through. Headed right into X and A next. So Cave Springs, Elm Springs, Tawnytown. It'll be here just within a moment or two. Heavy rain now spreading north and east into Centerton and Bentonville. We're getting it there in the Crystal Bridges area, Centerton and Bentonville West, Bella Vista. There towards the Highlands Golf Course getting it too. Some of the lakes there in Bella Vista now getting it. Rogers, west end of Beaver Lake, we're getting a couple light sprinkles. These are little cells that are trying to pop up ahead of the main line. Show you what I'm talking about. So right in here is where we're talking about the severe threat for that wind. Otherwise, these are just other cells. And honestly, this, for a couple scans, it was weakening. But the latest scan, this tends to look a little bit sharper. Pretty good gust of wind now pushing out right towards the south end of Bentonville. Here's the Walmart Amp. So kind of coming in towards the Walmart Amp. If you live near the Top Golf or there at the Whitaker Parkway, the Promenade, Pinnacle Hills area, this storm with wind is coming right at you. And then you head south there at the Pleasant Grove exit. So one more exit south. We're going to be getting some of that wind too. So I'll back this up. And let's zoom in just a touch. So here's a closer look. I'm going to take this just the last 15 minutes rather than last 30. And let's look at the timing of this. There we go. All right, so you can see some of the times there on your screen. X and A are basically right now. The Shadow Valley neighborhood, 1108. Arvest Ballpark, 1110. Rogers, and it's not necessarily downtown Rogers. This placement is more the southwest side of Rogers. They're close to the Pleasant Grove Road area and New Hope Road. It's kind of just south of New Hope, headed towards Pleasant Grove. In the Pinnacle Hills area, that's kind of the location you see it blinking there. And then Prairie Creek, 1120, and up towards Pea Ridge and Brightwater, 1122. This is back out for a second. I want to look at hail really quick. Adding a couple things and pause this for just a second. All right, there's the hail threat. Not doing much. So that's good. You could hear some little hail pieces every once in a while, but here's where that cell is. And we're going to keep chugging it along. They're right into X and A. In fact, it populates on the map too. There's X and A. So, edge of the wind. Coming right now into X and A. We've got Bentonville, we've got Cave Springs, and then the Centerton area. But it's this chunk of wind right here that's moving east and northeast, coming right over the airport, and then there towards Lowell, Highway 264, the 612 bypass, coming right towards you guys as well. J.B. Hunt headquarters, we've got the wind coming right towards campus, and then just north into Pleasant Grove. We've got that wind coming in too. Anywhere south of Wagon Wheel, maybe not as of a gusty wind with this threat here. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning coming out, National Weather Service. Let's back this up. This now includes the rest of Washington County into Carroll County and Madison County. So with this storm, it's this pocket here. It gets a little bit weaker, but then this is kind of intensifying. So let's take a look at, let's see if I can get the hail back up. Been having some technical difficulties with the keyboard there at the wall. I'm gonna work on. Okay, right in here. You're watching this development getting kind of nasty. I'm gonna see if we can get up the camera in Fayetteville. Give me one moment. Or Johnson. Johnson will work too. Live look in Springdale. There's Bentonville. I'm gonna switch this really quick. Let's go to Johnson. See what we can see. All right, you're looking west there from Johnson. This is right at the Johnson Mill exit. It gets hard to tell sometimes with that light. It's better during the day because that light's not on. Let's see what the view is from Fayetteville. And I may be able to see if we can move this camera in just a moment. In the meantime, I'll show you what it looks like outside. You can see some lighting there as you look past the Chancellor, or the Graduate. Or no, that's not the Graduate. That's on the right-hand side. The other taller building there in Fayetteville on the northwest side of the square. There's that little macaroon place there at the top. All right, so. This is Fayetteville. In the meantime, I'll show you radar. It's going to a wide view. Here's a little bit closer view. There's the thunderstorms starting to ride in. It's been extended south into Fayetteville. So far, the hail threat's not too bad. There could be some picking up in the wind on the south side. Here's the wind. It's tough to say. There's another view of the wind. You can kind of see that whole arc from this perspective. This look from the Tulsa radar. It's a little far, so it is looking higher up. But you see that wind coming right through, heading into Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, and the north side of Fayetteville. The strongest part, though, is right in here. Right in there, kind of where we're drawing, right in this kind of middle section is where it's the strongest. All right, I'm going to back it up. Here's the look of the radar. In a moment, I'm going to switch to Fayetteville. Got to do a couple things off camera to do that. But actually, this might be a cooler shot. All right, you're looking live in Springdale. You're going to see it getting very close to the camera once you get a couple more lightning strikes. But you're looking westbound from Sunset. There you go. See that strike? That storm is chugging along, coming in the west side of Taneytown right now, just plowing right through. Once again, the storm itself is not producing that much wind. The storm is moving fast. The storm itself is moving 50 miles per hour. So if you just kept in line with the storm, you get smacked with 50-mile-per-hour winds. So it doesn't take much to issue that severe thunderstorm warning. I'm still off camera just for a second, trying to find, that's interesting. What we also do at night is you kind of just scan the bottom edge. We don't really see any kind of mezzo. This is really just, and that would be a circulation of some type. This is really just kind of a wall. If it was light outside, you would see a decent wall coming on through. All right, I don't think we're able to move it. That's fine. Live looking Fayetteville, you can see some of the lightning. You're looking to the north, so probably a better view if I could turn to south. Switch to Springdale because every once in a while you're seeing the edge of the rain, which looks pretty cool. I'm going to move it a little bit farther to the north. In a second, we'll get maybe a strike or two that we could see just a little bit more easily. There you go. Okay, I'll stand over here. If you look way off there on the side, move this thing. Right there by the mouse, you've got the edge with some clear sky, but then you look back off here, you can see the edge of the cloud, but then it looks just very grayed and washed out. That's your rain shield coming in. About to pour, that huge downdraft just pushing across northwest Arkansas, helping to accelerate some of those winds out there. But once again, a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. There's two different ones, but put them together, it's all for northwest Arkansas. The highest wind threat right now does look like it's coming towards Rogers and the north end of Springdale. This live look outside in Fayetteville, you're going to see some lightning and those thicker clouds approaching. But of course, tornado watch still in effect for the River Valley. There's a new cell trying to come in at Fort Smith. Pretty weak right now, though. We'll watch that closely. We'll see if it tries to balloon over town. But if you live in Fort Smith, we got this cell coming in. But we got the new severe thunderstorm warning for Washington County. That includes all of Fayetteville, Greenland, West Fork, right there at West Fork. And then spreading north towards Weddington, back west towards Lincoln and Prairie Grove, and Farmington as well. Looking at a couple things off camera. New special weather statement coming out for Fort Smith. We could have about 40 to 45 mile per hour winds. And maybe a little bit of baby hail with this cell. For a second, it was just a little rain shower, but it's kind of picked up its strength just a little bit. Let's look at it a little bit more closely. All right, so here's the cell in Fort Smith. I'm going to switch it over to hail. You see that little bit of hail there along Highway 271. They're coming in from Spiro. It's about to head towards that, there's the Casey's and the kind of, I think it's shortstop. It's like a baseball kind of themed convenience store and gas station there in Pecola. As you meet 271, you head into Fort Smith. We got some hail coming towards that location. So the south end of Fort Smith, with some of those car dealerships, there could be a little bit of baby hail. Just little tinks coming down, little pea-sized pieces of ice trying to fall. In northwest Arkansas, not too much hail. Maybe just a little bit there towards X&A. You can see the runways there. See the runways? So we got a little hail coming in towards X&A. And then that will track right into north side of Rogers and into Bentonville. So the Topgolf, Walmart, Embassy Suites Hotel, there towards Pinnacle Hills and the Promenade, the Mercy Health Hospital, the big one there on the interstate. This is where that little hail is coming in. Here's a wider view. Winds look like they're kind of accelerating right now, right towards I-49. See that little little extra curvature there, right in here is where we'll be watching the strongest winds. So you plan this out right towards Prairie Creek here shortly in about 10-15 minutes. The downtown Rogers in about 8 minutes. Let's see, Garfield 11:27 and Gateway 11:31. South into Fayetteville, got themselves. This is a little bit disorganized. There's some wind and some little hail. So far, not that impressive. But coming through Fayetteville right now, in about at least downtown Fayetteville, in just under 10 minutes or so, about 6 or 7 minutes officially. On the west side of Fayetteville, we're getting that rain. University's starting to get some of that rain, but it'll hit downtown in just a couple more minutes. Goshen, 11:30, Elkins, 11:32, and Hinesville, there, 11:40. So all within the next, 20-30 minutes. All right, this is what it looks like outside. In Springdale, the rain has finally hit the camera, so it's going to look like a little bit more like a washing machine, if you can imagine, or if your washing machine has a little glass piece that you can peer into. That's what it kind of looks like. Good deluge there in Springdale. Good heavy rainfall for us coming straight in from the west. Live look outside in Fayetteville. You're going to see some lightning strikes there in a moment. They're more towards the left-hand side of your screen. That's plowing on through. I'm going to try one more time. The Fayetteville Square. No, I think it's possibly down. But once again, there's a live look outside in Springdale. Back to the weather maps. Okay. My software glitched just a little bit. So there's the warning. Just by itself, no radar. You're just looking at the hail tracker. And then back to the radar. Fort Smith, we've got some good rainfall pushing through right now, too. This is a little baby cell, but it's got a little bit of ice in it as it's tracking east. So when we time this one out, moving, it's headed towards Alma and Mulberry. Fort Chaffee, especially the northwest side there at the gate, the northwest side gate, I think the main gate. We've got some heavy rain for us coming out of Bacola. But there's Alma 11:18, Dyer 11:27, Mulberry 11:34, Jethro 11:47, and then Watalula just there right before midnight, getting into northern Franklin County. Once again, a wide view. A lot of heavy rain, some gusty winds. This isn't the most impressive severe thunderstorm warning. This is kind of right on the edge, pushing through 5 country. Just look at those temperatures again. So you got the edge of the wind coming now. It's now crossed the interstate. Right there at the edge of the rain. That's where the gusty wind is coming right into downtown. Rogers is about here. You've got the Harps there before you turn on Highway 12, head towards the bridge. That's about right here. So if you live near that Harps there on the north end of downtown Rogers, wind is coming right towards you guys. There at the post office close to downtown, got the wind coming right through too. So wind just now approaching the edge of downtown Rogers. Already kind of blown through Bentonville. We've already got the rain. There's a little bit of hail. We don't even need the hail tracker necessarily. You got to look at little pockets of lightning. And there's possibly a little bit of hail trying to fall now right now in Bentonville. And maybe a little bit of hail there coming out of the Prairie Grove area. That's headed towards Fayetteville. And all these hail pockets we're talking about are small. Most of the warnings are being issued because of the wind. And the wind is just because the storms are moving so fast. It's just very breezy out there. So it's almost as if, if you get for example, XNA got a wind gust a couple of days ago of 61 miles per hour. Do you issue a severe thunderstorm warning just for the wind? Not in that case, but if there's rain and some thunder with it, yeah, then you issue one. Heaviest rain itself right in downtown Rogers, downtown Bentonville, headed eastbound towards Garfield. NWAC, we're about to get some of that heavy rain if it's not just now arrived. Wind is now pushing across NWAC. It's going to go right down there, Hudson Boulevard. We'll come in towards the Daisy BB gun factory. On the north end of Rogers, that's coming in. If you live around Beaver Lake, this thing is headed right towards you guys. Prairie Creek, even eventually towards Rocky Branch, Horseshoe Bend. This wind's coming on through. All right, new update. National Weather Service has canceled that original severe thunderstorm warning. But the other warning, what they really did is they just made one big warning, let the old one expire, make one big one, just kind of for this whole storm. Because at times the storm is putting out some wind, but at times it is nothing crazy. We've got some good gusts pushing on through. Most of the rain now pushing into Fayetteville. So I think if I go into, sorry. All right, you're looking live in Fayetteville now. You're starting to get a couple raindrops there in the lens. May not see too much definition. You can see a couple. Not sure what that is. What is that? Almost looks like someone's have a big old tree on their car or something. Anyways, but you don't see these trees moving too much. There's some lightning out there. Might also just be some reflections. There you go. Just trees moving around a little bit more. They're off in the distance. Almost look like it's kind of middle road, but this one's on this sidewalk and these are on the others. They're all kind of blending in together. So my mind's playing tricks on me. But right now coming into downtown Fayetteville, washout right now in Springdale. The rain is coming down hard. The problem is the more water you get now, more water that's going to be out there that could possibly refreeze tomorrow. So we got this cluster of storms pushing on through. So far we are seeing a couple cells. Remember, we've been talking about that dry line, the difference between the clouds and a slightly clearer sky. There's a dry line right here, kind of extends out from the low pressure. A dry line is essentially a little bit more humid air compared to drier air. So dry line, just like a cold front has cold air. Dry line has dry air. So dry line is pushing just east of Dallas. That's why Dallas is not included in the watch, but the east side is. We'll be watching these cells. If these cells start to really grow, they could skim parts of 5 country, move in that northeast direction. Right now, the only threat that we have here at the moment is in northwest Arkansas. Good little cell pushing across Fort Smith, though. You'll probably hear a couple rumbles of thunder. Good, decent rainfall. Lasts for about 8 minutes, and then it's out of there. Here's a look at the high-resolution radar data. Rain pushing into Fayetteville. Really looking just kind of at this. The wind threat is really slacking off. There's still some wind coming in from this cell, right where you got the sharp edge coming right into the west end of Beaver Lake. The rest of this, though, has really weakened. I mean, Fayetteville, we're just getting pounded with some heavy rain. We'll see if we can see anything on the wind. Yeah, you do see that wind coming into Prairie Creek, but the wind's not as impressive a little bit farther south you go. Here's a wide view again with some of the hail. Not too much to write home about, but you do see some of that heavy rain pushing through Washington County. Just good rainfall. Couple rumbles of thunder there on the back side as this thing pushes through. Also looking at that cell in Fort Smith. Let me back it up. Could have some hail up to about nickel-sized in parts of it. Now it's more east side of Fort Smith. Leaving downtown, headed there down Rogers Avenue towards the Lowe's and the Walmart, and now spreading eastbound into Barling and even Alma, trying to get some of that activity too. But this is just a little cell. So far hasn't really strengthened much. It kind of blew up for a second to be a baby cell, and it's now just staying at that status, headed right towards Mulberry. Ozark, we could even get clipped by this. Otherwise, northwest Arkansas, really kind of seeing it just rain out right now as it pushes through. I'm going to connect with the National Weather Service for just a second, see if they're seeing anything. Looks like we had a max wind gust there at XNA about 46 miles per hour. Getting a report from emergency management there in Arcoma. It's right about there as you cross the state line. About dime-sized hail. So not up to severe limits. That's why there's not a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's see. Got a couple dime-sized hail reports there in Silent Springs a little bit earlier as that was all passing on through. 49-mile-per-hour wind gust there in Bentonville that we had just recently. That just now came in too. So just kind of reading some from some of the forecasters there. They'd put one big warning because the storm keeps acting up just a little bit. It produces wind well, it's always been producing wind closest to the severe limits, so went ahead and just put the warning out. The hail's kind of been cycling. You get a little bit of hail for a second, then it goes away, picks up again, and then kind of goes away. But most of the hail reports that I'm seeing right now are generally anywhere between a dime to nickel-sized hail. So definitely hail, and you probably hear it out in the rain. You're thinking, Matt, it's hailing at my house. A lot of it's probably mixed in with the rain. You're getting these small little ice chunks. Usually not too much of the damaging stuff, but that could change. Every scan produces something a little bit different, but we are watching a little bit of hail spread across Washington and Benton County. Looks like the wind now is pushing in the west end of Beaver Lake. There's Prairie Creek. There's the marina about here. So the marina is about to get hit. You head north to Sailboat Cove. Got another about 8-10 minutes before that hits us. Garfield, winds on the way there towards the dam. And then Pea Ridge, good heavy rainfall for us. You're looking back west, though. Siloam Springs, we're no longer in the warning. Gentry, Decatur, and Gravette, no longer in the warning for us as well. Just some good rainfall pushing on through. Here's an update on the hail. Looks like it's kind of upticked there, just a touch there in Bentonville. Looks like it's kind of delayed. It really is probably right here. We're very far from the radar beam, so sometimes you get a couple wonky things, but there looks to be a little bit of hail right where that lightning is. Usually gives a sign of where there is hail. You got the hailstones hitting each other, causing that some friction, and eventually if you get a lot of that to happen, you can produce some lightning. New update from National Weather Service. Warning has been now trimmed for now just Fayetteville. Once you head past the lows there on MLK, no more warning. We're right there at the edge of Owl Creek Elementary School. Done a lot of school visits there. You head westbound, Highway 62. Once you get towards Farmington, warning has now been canceled. We still have a lot of heavy rain over Farmington and Lincoln and Prairie Grove and sometimes some small hail. But the reason why these warnings were issued were because of mainly the wind and the secondary reasons the hail, but the primary reason is mainly the wind. And the wind is more on the east side of this storm that's pushing through Fayetteville. So back west, it's just heavy rain now. You'll hear a couple ice chunks trying to fall from the sky. Nothing too damaging as of now, and it probably will stay that way. I don't see really many changes there on the backside, but watch out for a little baby hail, not a dime and nickel-sized pieces coming right into Fayetteville. They're north into Johnson, just a lot of heavy rain. Look like the winds mainly stayed just there at the Pleasant Grove exit and then north towards Whitaker Parkway, then New Hope, and then Walton, and then farther north towards Central Ave. We got that wind that pushed on through. See if I can move this just a touch. Nope, it's not working. All right, temperature-wise, look, we've already cooled down in Bentonville. So now you can see that, okay, there's a couple different things. You've got a little bit of a push of some northwest winds, and you can see the edge. Also, on my microphone, you may hear some rumbles of thunder. We've had some rumbles of thunder here at the station, too. Northwest winds picking up. Once you get this to come through your town, your severe threat's over. So we're close. In Northwest Arkansas, we're ending it over time. But in the River Valley, got a ways to go, and I don't like this 61. Don't like it at all, just because the warmer weather can help sustain a little bit more storm development here in the next couple of hours. Let's go ahead and go back to a wide view. So you'll see the storm's headed right into Conway and Little Rock still. It's been a lot of heavy rain. But we're watching these cells trying to grow just a little bit. Eventually, they'll try to make a run towards the southern River Valley. And this is why the tornado watch has been extended back off towards the west, because of the potential for these, with the dry line being about here, can help spark those storms. You've got dry air, you've got more moist air. So the difference, that creates a boundary and helps produce those thunderstorms to fire up. Fort Smith, we're including that tornado watch. That tornado watch goes until 4 a.m. I think our corner of the tornado watch really until about 1 to maybe 1:30, 2 at the very latest. But probably 1 to 1:30 will be our ending time to watch for any kind of circulations with some of these storms. But we'll watch and we'll give you updates if that changes. There's a live look outside in Fayetteville. We're soaked now. Heavy rain coming in. Wind doesn't seem as strong now. Rain's also starting to die off real quick. Here's the severe threat you see all across the region. So definitely higher chances a little bit farther south. and into Little Rock as well, where they're seeing the storms now. Looks like rain's starting to taper off just a little bit. Springdale still coming down at a pretty good clip. Coming down at a pretty good clip right now in Fayetteville too. Here's a little bit closer view. This storm's going to hit north side of Little Rock pretty decently, and there towards the Air Force Base. But you're looking northwest Arkansas, very heavy rain pushing across Benton and Washington counties. A little bit of wind there on the north sides. But I'm looking at these speeds and I'm just not seeing. This is high up in the atmosphere, now pushing over Beaver Lake. You're starting to get more into eastern Benton County. Prairie Creek Marin is here, about Rocky Branch is here. We're getting closer and closer to the center of the lake. And then we'll be out towards Eureka Springs here next. In Washington County, the wind is now farther south into Goshen. So look again, hail-wise, just got that little pocket crossing the state line. Otherwise, this is just heavy rain that's pushing in. I'm going to change this back. The edge seems not as sharp. Couple things. Look at this. Check this out. That, you see a little bit of blue there. There could be some sort of development of some rotation right in here. So let me back up and restart this. So I'm going to reset this map. Let's move this farther to north. To 15 minutes of loop. I'm going to switch this over to our velocities. Shows you the wind speeds in the atmosphere. Looks like there's some slight rotation right in here. So this would be the east end of Beaver Lake. So this would be downstream against Eureka Springs. Here's a couple other locations to keep in mind. Glade 1127, that's right now. But Pine Top 1128, the Lost Bridge area 1130-ish. The Beaver Dam site 1134. Clear Springs School 1139 and Eureka Springs 1140. Something to watch there. Let's see if there is any. This is a rotation tracker. Also, this would be higher up in the atmosphere, so you got to take it sometimes with a grain of salt, but I never like to see any kind of rotation. But it would be something, just a slight rotation right in here, which is moving generally in this direction there towards the north and east, out of Benton County here very shortly and into Carroll County. Back off towards the south. Let's analyze the rotation line. Not really seeing. Kind of looks just like rain. Seeing the hail. You can see where the hail has been. So little pockets here. Definitely more in Benton County than northwest Arkansas. Looking coming into Bentonville, past XNA, Pea Ridge, and there towards the Bella Vista area. I haven't seen as much in Washington County. Doesn't mean it's not there. Could just mean that it's mixing with the raindrops pretty decently. In the River Valley, you've seen some of that hail come into the south side. All those dealerships on the south side are about here. And then there's all this hail right in here. This is just moving north and east towards Kibler and Lavaca and Mulberry. Mulberry would be next with that storm. Keep an eye on this rotation too. Once again, just something to watch. I don't see any indications of pulling a trigger on a tornado warning right now, but something to watch. This is very rural, east end of Beaver Lake. What's cool about the eastern end of Beaver Lake is there's a lot of good waterfalls you can only get to if you're on water, because a lot of them are on private land, but if you're on the water, you can look at them from the water. I mean, I won't go into them because it's private property, but you can look at them just by sitting on the water. You see them off in the distance. The east end of Beaver Lake has a lot of those, especially after good heavy rain. It's fun to do. Maybe paddleboard, do things like that. Been a lot of paddleboarding. There's a lady who does it out there, a Hawaiian lady, which is pretty cool. All right, so Washington County, here's that wind right there at the edge. That's all pushing eastbound by about, 40 to 50 miles per hour, just charging north and east towards Huntsville and Alabama. There, Madison County will be next. See if that new scan just came in. Not quite there yet. Again, we're watching right in here. New scan is in. Probably a very low chance we get a tornado warning for Carroll County, but looks like the rotation is now out of Benton County. Here's the thing. This is where it was when the scan took place, which took place now probably at least 30 seconds ago. So this is now pretty much completely out of Benton County, heading into Carroll County. Very east end of Beaver Lake. Wide view again. We'll see how some of these cells back off to the south develop over time. We'll probably get a break here in coverage here soon. Getting a lot of heavy rain and thunder. Something to wake up to, that's for sure. There's that tornado watch that's still in effect for the Southern River Valley. Because of the storms in Texas, crossing the Red River could try to pose a threat later on tonight. Seeing some breakup. Notice how there's a little bit of a split now in the storm. The only rotation that so far we've really seen is northern Benton County, tracking into western Carroll County. And that would be, technically it's more about here. There's a new scan. There we go. There would be a tiny little rotation right in here, something to watch. That's moving north and east. Not too much rotation, really just heavy rain right now reporting in Washington County. They're in Fayetteville, but right in here towards, you can see Beaver Lake there on the map. There towards the northern end. But there's that notch. The notch is probably about here now. Moving pretty quick. It's moving about 50 miles per hour right through those hillsides. Beautiful country out here. There towards the Turpentine Tiger Refuge. Temperatures right now still holding in the now 40s in northwest Arkansas. So once we get the rain out of here, we're going to be good. Just a lot of 50s, and we're still in the low 60s in Scott County. So that's something that we will have to watch. I'm going to let's take a look at some of the other temperatures. Yeah, we've already dropped to the 40s. That's too cold. The only thing you can get is a couple still more small hail pieces because it's just so cold, but it's really hard for the atmosphere to support severe weather. Some of the temperature sensors are down in parts of the River Valley, but we're now down to 50 in Clarksville. So I like that. Of course, some of that's that East Valley breeze that keeps us cooler by the Arkansas River, but you get farther south, we're still talking about 60s in Scott County. I wouldn't be surprised if southern LaFleur County also had some 60s as well. Go back to the radar, and we'll probably wrap this up in a moment. Looking at a couple other hail reports coming in from Centerton and Bentonville. Small, under a quarter inch. They're nickel to dime size pieces. So this storm's riding through Fayetteville. We got the other storm that's leaving Benton County. Still some rain. When I say storm, it's really kind of the front end of the storm that's really the most impactful. Once you get past the front end, then you're just getting rain and thunder. It's annoying, it's loud, you just want to sleep. But the severe threat's usually out of there. Could be some small little hail pieces. But Fort Smith, we've been watching that cell. Looks like it's gone through just a little bit of weakening as it passes there right over Mulberry. Coming right now into Franklin County, getting close to Ozark. We may get skimmed, especially on the west side of Ozark. Got a couple other little cells there in Sequoia County and then northern Haskell County. Otherwise, looks like this stuff is kind of petering out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. We're watching this storm push deeper into Carroll County. There could be a slight rotation that's now probably about here. Let's zoom in just one more time. Yeah. New scan is going to be about here next. That'll come in just a moment. So probably crossing there, 62. North and west is Eureka Springs, and then we'll head that north into Missouri. But once again, this is high up in the atmosphere too, so it's easier to see substantial rotation. This is not even substantial, I shouldn't say that, but it's easier to see some rotation higher up in the atmosphere sometimes. less friction. Things can spin all they want up there. It's when you start to spin lower to the ground is when you get that tornado threat, but something to still watch out for. So we're going to wrap this up. We'll have more updates throughout the evening. What you need to know is scattered rain and rumbles will be possible. Maybe sometimes some small hail. You look out your window and you see those little pea-sized ice pellets out there. That's some hail that's been pushing wind with some of these storms as they march from the west to the east. But that cold front is on the way. You're already seeing start to change over from rain to snow there in Oklahoma City. Light snow, more scattered flurries out there. But we do have that tornado watch in effect. We'll see how these storms develop over time. They're coming in from North Texas. If they can form, they'll kind of make a northeast run at us, skim southern LaFleur County, and it's really Scott County, southeastern Logan County, maybe even the Knoxville, Lamar area and Clarksville per se, coming up here in the next several hours. I think once again by about 1:30, so that's 2 hours from now, we should be done. So we got about 2 more hours to watch, and then we're good other than showers moving in, cold air tomorrow, snow showers in the morning. We'll see if they stick or not. They're definitely, I would watch out for some slick spots, but there could be some flash freezing as temperatures drop. If you're getting rainfall, if you're getting good rainfall tonight, there's a higher chance that it could refreeze. There's something more to refreeze. If you can get a lot of rainfall tonight, there's nothing to freeze, so there's not as much to worry about. But we'll see how things change throughout the overnight. Meteorologist Zach Scott, he'll be in here shortly. As tracking, he'll be more covering the wintry side of things, and I'm covering the severe weather sides of things just here in the late night of your Thursday. All right, make sure you keep it here, keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.